Hello! Welcome everybody to another live edition of the Streakers Island podcast. Now, the reason why Chazzy wasn't with us for the first show, we didn't die. Clearly, he's right there. And as you can see, he is up to update 5.88. So he was in the charging dock. He was getting the update. You know what it's like, right? When you got to update your computer or your Tesla.
Like Studio 88.
It's like taking your luggage from a medium-sized ship to an extra jumbo ship. In half the time.
The great thing is, too, remember, this Chazzy, when he updates, that means the Streakers app is also getting an update. So make sure you stay locked in for the Streakers app update because
huge update coming.
We're putting the power in the fans' hands.
When we were basically in our pregame show, we talked about a bunch of things OKC needed to do. Well, I think their head coach was one of our viewers because they basically did every single thing we told them to do. They rebounded the ball better. They moved the ball around. They were getting a lot more assists. They weren't using just a half-court offense. They were really pushing the pace. I mean, mind you, they missed so many open threes, I wanted to throw my head through the window. But besides that, I mean, I thought OKC played better than OKC. Aha. Elaine, what were your thoughts? Do you agree with me, by the way, on the three-point shooting? Because I just felt like guys were missing open threes actually on both sides a lot.
Aggressive three ball night. I feel like teams they're going for the three balls tonight, but that is an advantage in basketball when you get 3 points instead of two, right? But I feel like sometimes they can come back to bite you, especially in a 3-point game where when you miss a few and a team goes on a run tonight. And I feel like at times OKC definitely took advantage of that, especially when they started to get more in the lead. I think Indiana tried to just play catch up by just shooting the threes and trying to see if they could make it like a comeback at all. But when they would miss, the OKC would come down and then would get a good two or get a good three at the time. So I feel like sometimes when it turns into a game, you see a lot more of these blowouts because like you said, one team is missing, one team's making, and they go on runs. It kind of felt like a little bit like that tonight at times.
Well, and you know what? It's a big thing, too, when we mentioned the three-pointers. OKC did out-rebound them 56-39, right? And that was a big difference in this one. And
our
big
boy
up to Shea, too. Sorry, Dan?
I was going to say our boy from Hamilton did pretty good.
Yeah, Shea Alexander with 34 points and surpassed Mr. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan for combined, he passed over 3,000 points between regular season and playoffs, joining players like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So big ups to the Hamilton native. Hamilton Studio is proud of you.
That's crazy, bro.
What up?
That's awesome.
So big game. Series is tied up at 1, and I think this is the way OKC wanted to play.
Well, for sure.
They seemed a lot more aggressive, and as you said, Lane, the three ball is important, and they were able to do that. And the Thunder also, I felt, really controlled the pace. Whenever the Pacers tried to speed the game up, which they like to do, I felt OKC actually did a pretty good job at slowing it back down again. Yeah, and I think that was a big difference maker. I don't know if you boys agree with me, you disagree with me, you want me to just leave.
I want you to address the elephant in the room and no one wants to hear.
What's this?
I'm new to basketball, okay? I was, kind of looking forward to it and everything. And the game got going. It was a blowout. And this is not what the NBA wants. I mean, viewership is down this year. The Dentist did look pretty good. It was a jammed house. But, I mean, are you boys concerned for the sake of the NBA that the game was set to blowout in the finals?
I think it is concerning to what Dan's saying. There has been a lot of blowouts, right?
I was bored.
It's been a lot of like this in this year. There hasn't really been like a lot of close games. I feel like you said, the closer games are exciting, but when there's like these 20, 30-point blowouts that we've been seeing here in these postseason, I would think it is a little concerning because like you said, it is more of a boring game. It's harder to watch when there's a 30-point game. You're not really wanting to sit in front of the TV and watch. You kind of want to walk away. And I feel like even some people, even in game 1, kind of walked away when it was a 15-point lead because people thought the same thing. And now, mind you, the Indiana Pacers made a comeback in that game, but this kind definitely felt like more of a more boring game. And you don't want too many of these because viewership, I think, will continue to go down if there are big blowouts.
Yeah.
It's like hockey, right? You don't want to watch a 7-1 game. You want to watch a 3-4 game, a 3-2 game.
Leaf fans love 6-1 games. Come on.
Yeah.
In game 7.
Don't
And
remind
game
me.
5.
Yeah, no,
And
you're
yeah,
right.
what Sneakers Gaming is right. I have failed because I believe the first game I picked KC, I believe. And they lost. I'm, oh, well, this time I'll go with Siakam and the Pacers. And where did that get me? Nowhere. So thank you very much, Mr. Siakam.
No, I want to address
Sneakers Gaming
Siakam.
is calling you out, Mr. Morfor.
I know. That's what I'm seeing here.
I honestly think, though, if the Pacers don't find a way to get some rebounds, you're in trouble.
Oh,
Because
sure.
I felt that was the big difference this game was that even when OKC were missing 18,000 3-pointers, they were getting the ball back and then making another play. So it's not even so much, even when they missed 4 or 5, because there was one point, I think they missed 4 3-pointers in a row, and then finally the Pacers got the ball back. But when you build a 20-point lead and you can kill that much clock, right, it's that much harder for the Pacers to get back in this one.
Maybe
And I don't know. I just did not feel good about the Pacers game. I mean, they did some things they wanted to do. They at one point in, I believe it was towards the end of the first quarter, they went on a nice run. And I think I even texted Lane saying like, hey, you know what? Pacers are going on a bit of a run here. Maybe we'll see. And then OKC's just like, nah, go away.
But here's what I'm frustrated about. Like, okay, you mentioned that, right? And Pascal Siakam, I actually want to call you out for a minute. You know, you're the guy with veteran leadership, and you're the guy who's supposed to kind of help this team with your finals, like your finals and your history in the playoffs. What were you waiting for? Like, were you waiting for a call from like your girlfriend? Were you waiting for the like your Uber Eats to arrive at your house? He had 4 seconds at the end of the first quarter where if he makes that shot, and he did make the shot, the Pacers would have only been down at 1 point instead of 4 going into the second quarter. And he was wide open. He stood there for 4 seconds. I'm watching the clock. I'm like, okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello. It's like, I don't know, did just controller disconnect or something? And then he shoots it with 0 seconds. He makes the 3, but by the time I just don't know what he was waiting for.
Well,
What are you waiting for? Good old World Junior song that Team Canada was still waiting to get going in that tournament. But
I just found when he played with Raptors, he didn't have the same intensity as some of the other guys. And you saw it in this game here. Now, I will say Casey did do some good coverage on the Pacers, but I'll just call out, too. I find Olfrey's 3-pointers boring. I want to see some slam dunks. Like, remember the most famous Michael Jordan slam dunk?
hey,
As in all our shoes.
come on, Mike. You missed my singing at 6 a.m. when we were at the office. Actually, no one wants to deal with me at 6 a.m. But Mike
Definitely
used
not,
to.
no.
God
I'm
bless you,
thinking
Mike,
like
for
that,
dealing
then.
with me at 6 a.m. Oh, I just put your comment back on. Hello.
Sometimes we have to deal with Jacob at 2 a.m.
That's right. We dealt with him 5 a.m. once. We won't talk about that. But no, like you look at Michael Jordan's famous slam dunk. Technically, that was not an All-Star game like Vince Sandy in 2000. That was a playoff game.
Playoffs?
So where was this in this playoffs? This is the finals. You want to get the ratings going. Let's see some excitement.
It's a different era, though, Dan. You know what I mean?
I get it. I get it.
It's the Curry. It's
I'm
the
gonna
Curry.
assume Mike is puking at your take, Dan, on getting on no more on less 3 balls. 3's bigger than 2. It's simple math. Now, mind you, I don't like
I
it
see
the
what he's
way
saying, though.
every player is trying to be Steph Curry and hitting shots they just can't hit. Right? And I think we've talked about that before on the show. I'm like, you need to know your limitations, but at the same time, 3's bigger than 2. Mr. Calculator, more for your money, should know that already.
I do. I get it. But I don't know. Don't you want to kill time on the clock too? And by going for 2 instead of going for 3, don't you kill time on the shot clock in theory?
No, but I even wonder: do the Pacers
chance to rebound?
In my opinion, and Lane and Chazzy, correct me if you two think I'm full of something. but I felt the Pacers struggled from 3. So why not drive
Okay.
hard to the hoop and try to get some 2+1 on the harm? Right? The OKC was fouling a lot. Both teams were in the bonus by like halfway through the first quarter. It was terrible.
I know.
So
It's
why
unreal.
not just try to force some fouls and make some 3-point plays? If you're not hitting the 3, you can find ways to still put points up in bunches, right?
I
And
agree.
I understand it's the new era of basketball. I'm kind of between Dan and Lane, which I'm actually not. That'd be a very weird sandwich to be in. But I'm more in the line of I think you got to do what's hitting. If you're hitting threes like you're Caitlin Clark or Steph Curry, then go for it. If you're not, then drive the hoop like you're DeMar DeRozan or Vince Carter. Like that's
Shaquille O'Neal.
That's more me. But Mr. Chazzy 5.88, I see you sitting there chilling. I get the updates just done. Your firmware's settling down. But what did you think of this one? Was this game even a bit more of a blowout than the show scored at 118-100? Or do you think, you know what, maybe the game was a little closer than the show scored?
No, I know I missed the pregame show, but as expected, I don't know, you could have almost expected, or the first game was almost a blowout until the last, 4 or 5 minutes was entertaining. And then tonight you just, OKC's built, like we say the Edmonton Oilers are just, this is a team. So it'll be interesting what happens. You got Indiana, you stole one in OKC. You're heading back home, 1-1. And Lane, direct me if I'm correct, is it 3 or is it 2-2-1-1-1, or does it do 2-3-2 in the NBA Finals?
It's the same as the hockey. 2 there, 2, and then 1-1-1.
Yeah, so if you're Indiana, like you got one, you're 1-1. I don't know, the odds makers still had OKC still almost 12-point favorites, so they expected OKC to come out as they did in Game 1 and blow them out. So
Lane has decided if I'm not going to shut up, he's going to get in the comment section to bring in his point. And he wants to talk about free throws. So, Lane, the court is yours. The court of opinion, that is.
Well, no, I was just saying, you look at the free throws, and we talked about this a bit in the pregame when Dan was asking me what the advantage is, and I told him that I think the free throws, especially on home court, is an advantage. And you look at the free throws, right? Indiana was 19 for 26, but the Oklahoma City Thunder were 29 for 33. Now, you think they didn't get as many shots, 7 less shots, but even if they make 6 more of them, you're looking at a game that's 115-123, right?
Yeah,
So
wow.
they really did miss on those opportunities tonight when they went to the free throw line, whereas Jacob said, maybe they could have used a guy like Miles Turner or Pascal Siakam, especially when they got into the bonus early there, to try to get some more free throws instead of shooting the 3. And you don't really realize how many times these one little points, in basketball when it's a 100-point game, you don't realize how one little point can change a game. But, you make 6 extra free throws instead of being a 20-point game, it's only a 9-point game.
No, that's very true, right? And I will say,
take
though,
Mr. Calculated status.
When you guys are calling out Siakam, he was second on the team in scoring. Personally, I thought Tyrese Halliburton needed to be better. I thought he looked
That's the name, Halliburton. That's the guy we were
considering he's the one that was all sulky. He didn't win the conference finals MVP, which I don't know why anyone would care about winning the conference finals MVP.
I kind of get it after, but
that's kind of like me getting mad if I didn't win 4th place at the grade 6 spelling bee. Who cares? Actually, you know what? I think the grade 6 spelling bee to that kid is more important than the conference finals is to these players. If they've already made it to the finals, and if you're going to the finals, who cares? It's like when the Leafs are celebrating that.
I would get eliminated from spelling bee very quick.
Dan, we both would.
Just say, I can do math, no problem. Spelling, I cannot do.
However, a guy on OKC I was impressed with, guy that, we talked about need to be bigger in the pregame, was Jalen Williams. He had a really nice game, 22 points. Thought he was moving. And the thing is, too, because – and look, SGA had less points this game, but the entire team had more.
Yeah.
What we said needed to happen. Right? You look at your starting 5, all 5 of them hit double digits. I don't believe, I think that's a good stat to have, right? I know you're on. I understand.
So you're back-to-back games with the Pacers not having a 20-point score.
Well, they didn't have a 20-point score in one game either.
That's why I said back-to-back games with no 20-point score.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think I want more out of Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers. I think if everyone's going to go on that he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA, because I've seen that. I'll be honest, I don't know enough point guards to really make an opinion on that.
If
But
he's
if you're
top
going to say
5,
you're a top,
league's got a problem.
but if you're going to say you're a top 5 and then sulk when you don't win an MVP in a conference finals, which again, who cares? But like, I also wonder too, and I'm just going to call this out the way I see it. Does that divide your dressing room at all? Instead of being happy for your teammate, you're sulking like a baby.
Oh, it was his teammate.
Yeah,
Yeah, what?
Siakam won the MVP.
So
I missed that part. Okay.
I mentioned
Yeah, he
that.
should be happy for his teammate.
I mentioned that to a fan that follows
Was
the
he a
program
fan
at
of
the
it?
NBA, but he also said Halliburton on the floor, because I had the same opinion as you, Jacob, but he said Halliburton on the floor is the most unselfish player.
Oh,
So they didn't really read anything into it if you sort of knew the team and how he is. So
yeah, but it's one of those things. Someone can be your best friend, but still say something that kind of gets under your skin, right? And
Yeah.
instead of celebrating your teammate to just basically go, "I didn't get it." I don't know. It's just something that I don't love. But I will say,
I think
for
it's
Shea,
poor taste, to be
Well,
honest.
I think I know why. Like after when I was doing some of the research for today, I think I can understand kind of why he was frustrated, and maybe he took it out on the wrong way. But I keep reading about how he's so like even coming into this series, people said, "Oh, he's overrated. He's not that good. He's not talented. He's lucky." And I maybe he took it a bit personally. He's sitting with a record right now in the NBA,
you
and
know how
he
much I
didn't
care about this take about.
he just leaves.
Can I ask a question?
Oh!
Why is it even a conference finals MVP? So this be an MVP for the whole playoffs, like in the other sport?
That's
makes
fun. They
sense.
don't have that.
But it's also I kind of bring it back to, remember when Connor McDavid won the Conn Smythe
He
and
didn't
he
care.
literally didn't care because he didn't.
Yeah. He looked
That's how I feel about Tyrese Halliburton.
He looked pissed off. He didn't even
Fair.
come intercepted, which that was wrong too.
No, I actually don't think it
no,
was
he's
wrong.
like,
that he didn't
no,
go
not a
accept it.
chance. No way.
Why do you want to go accept an award you don't want, not in front of your fans?
Well, okay, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess if it was home ice, it would be different.
In a team sport, you want the team trophy.
Mhm.
I actually don't think even if they were at home and they lost, I still don't think he would have accepted it.
I think
Yeah,
he would have
probably
in front of
not,
his
eh?
home fans. I think he
There's
would
no
have
way
in front of
he
his
would have
home
never
fans.
accepted that.
I don't know. I think in front of your home fans, you accept it. Just
Oh, I don't know.
because.
You think
It
he
was
would
an interesting moment in history, and it really
have
proved
accepted it?
what type of player he is. But we're going a little off track here. But
I love tracks.
yeah.
So
We're going across the street to the ice rink.
okay, but
The boat is off the whales on the island.
okay,
That's how
Dan,
Cuckoo
you're
is
kind of just
going.
reminding me of that episode of Family Guy when they do like train on the water, boat on the track. If you guys have seen the episode, I think Dan's getting confused on what a boat and a train does. But so the big question is, who is the advantage going into Game 3?
Oh boy.
Do you take momentum as the advantage, or do you take the Pacers got a split when some people were calling this series to be a sweep?
Yeah, that's true too.
Juggle the eggs. I don't know.
I could see the Pacers getting a little bit like mad about how this game turned out, and coming home and playing a bit of a stronger game in front of their home crowd. And again, they're not in trouble until they lose at home. Like at the end of the day, they did steal one here at OKC, right? You can't
Well,
forget about
realistically,
that.
they're not even in trouble until they lose 2 at home right now.
Yeah.
Realistically, if you lose 1 at home and you win the other and it's a best of 3, I don't know how upset you are about that, right? Like,
Right.
and that's the thing. You sometimes have to look at it in a series. And I actually agree with Paul Maurice. I don't really think momentum goes between game to game. And the way this series has gone is, if you told the Pacers you were going to go to OKC and come away with a split,
They were happy
you'd
with
be
that.
happy.
Oh, they would be. Yeah.
Now, OKC, if you told them you're going to play 2 games at home and only win 1, you're not happy, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
But I'm actually, that's a good question for you guys, though. Do you guys feel momentum carries game to game? Because I honestly don't.
I disagree with you, Jacob. I think it does.
Rude.
Okay, I'll be rude, but I think especially in a playoff series, I get it if it's a regular season game and you're not going to face, let's say it's a regular season and Oklahoma City doesn't face the Indiana Pacers for another like 3 months. Okay, that momentum's not going to carry. But in a playoff series where it's back to back to back to back, yeah, I disagree with you, bud. I think the series does carry momentum from game to game within the series.
I don't know if it's momentum as much as composure. I think composure is a bigger play. I don't know if it's the momentum, but I think it's how you deal with the losses, right? And not to make this about the Leafs, but I'm going to make it about the Leafs. But no, but I no.
Craig's
but I,
like, oh boy, not again. You know what, Craig? Just for you. I can't.
No, but-
Go ahead, Lane.
No, my point is just like, it's how you deal with the losses, right? If you kind of like let it get to you and let it bother you, then momentum is going to be a big thing. But we see, like, it depends on the team and their mentality, right? If you lose and you can handle the loss and come back stronger, then I agree with Jacob here that momentum means absolutely nothing. What is
That's a good point.
good for? Absolutely nothing. But there's a song for you. But no, but I just think it's depending
Mike,
on.
I will put your comment up for you so you don't need to put it again.
Hey, I won a singing competition one time when I was a kid, mind you.
So
Well, we're still all kids at heart, though.
the other very interesting thing I want to say too is remember in game 1, it was really the bench that took over for the Pacers. You could argue it was the Thunder's bench that took over for this one. They got a combined 44 points from the bench.
Wow.
Just with Curso and Wiggins leading the charge, or 22 and 18. There was also a big run in the second quarter when they had
Wiggins
a
is on the
run.
bench?
Yeah, he's
It's
a
a
bench
different
player in
Wiggins.
OKC.
I thought he was a
Wiggins.
pretty good player. Isn't he Canadian?
Different Wiggins, but I think they're.
Oh,
they
my
might be
bad.
related.
Sorry.
He is
They might be
Canadian, though.
They might be related. I could check. I don't know if they're related, but
Did
they
you
might be.
know?
Andrew Wiggins?
Did you know Dan and I are related?
I did.
I could be related to Chazzy, but I don't think I am.
Well, technically, we're all related to everybody. We're all related to everyone. Really think about it. It all started with 2 people.
Well, let's not get the atheists in the chat angry about that in the Big Bang. But I think I'm just going to pour water over that fire to make sure that Dan doesn't.
They're not related, by the way.
Lane and I could be related. We're both
Maybe.
dashing.
It's true.
But I think it's time we sign off for the NBA post-game show. Thank you very much for joining the show. Thank you for commenting, people. I don't know why Dan's laughing already. He's just laughing McGee. But remember to tune in Monday for our pre-recorded show. That'll come up around 10:30, 11 o'clock on all the platforms. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias. And just so we give you a little preview on what we're going to be talking about in our pre-record, those are big signings in the CFL. One very big signing that Dan is very angry about. And yes, you are. Because I guess you don't know.
That's why I say,
But you're going to find out.
Why?
We're going to talk about some NHL trade rumors. We're going to talk about the NHL playoffs. We'll talk also a bit about this last NBA game. Blue Jays lose the first game in a while. How big of an impact is that going to make on them? And a lot more. But thank you very much for watching the Streakers Island Podcast Live Edition, powered by Streakers Gaming. And make sure to follow us all for more on all the social medias, every single one. Subclaim Sports Analyst, Lane, Dash and Dashco, Chazzy 5.88. I can't wait till you get to 6.0, brother. That's going to be a great time. I'm calling your brother. Call me Hulk Hogan. And, of course, Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
Okay, bye.
Bye.